keep talking that ish.
This is what I really want to talk about.
That's what I've been waiting for.
Oh, you don't want to talk about this one, my man, because I'm gonna kill you on this one. This topic right here.
I'm probably gonna agree though.
Good. You should agree. Today's music versus older generational music. How do you feel about that?
What genre?
All genres.
What's your question?
Like, is there any
What's
genre?
your specific question about that?
Because like if
Do
you're
you
comparing
think
Beastie
that-
Boys to Drake, then you know.
Oh, come on.
You said what?
If you're
He
comparing
took
Beastie
Beastie
Boys
Boy-
to Drake,
Are
then,
they?
like,
Are they?
it's an easy.
Wait, but are they
They're
the same genre? Are they?
Absolutely, yeah, they're both hip hop.
Okay, so you
Drizzy,
pick.
Drake, all day.
Okay,
Exactly.
so
but if you're
let-
comparing Drake, like
so then
Drake
we
and
would-
Pac, then
So then
it's
we
a
would
different
take
story.
percentages because Drake doesn't make up all your music today. You have a lot of very awful music today outside of Drake. And then I have a lot of incredible music from back then that, like I said, you picked Beastie Boys, but then you also mentioned Pac,
Right.
you know?
But then I still do think it's I think it's your perspective too, self-perspective.
My
what you want out of
perspective.
music.
So my perspective, and I think the younger generations are starting to see. Cause I see younger generations starting to listen to more of my generation music because I guess you guys are starting to get it. Like back in the day, you actually had to be able to play an instrument. You had to actually be able to sing,
I mean, that's true.
and
Michael
you
Jackson.
actually had to write some of your own lyrics. You know,
There
so
was ghostwriters back then too.
I know
There
we
was.
did. We
Yeah,
did
there
have
was.
ghostwriters, but we had less than now.
I think
Now I don't know if anyone makes their own music.
music back then was definitely a lot more meaningful than it is. Now it's flex. Back then it was a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I was explaining to somebody. If you understand, back in the day, like medieval days, the bard, music was normally to celebrate the heroes of today, the heroes of that time, a warrior, a king, someone that did something incredible. And then music all of a sudden started turning to the musicians singing about themselves
It's entertainment no longer.
and their own flex. And I'm like, what did you do in life?
Okay, so do you think
Or
those
in
bards' music was
history.
better than your generations of music?
Well, I think it was more meaningful and long lasting because they were singing about great men and great women that would last a lifetime. They weren't singing about themselves. They were basically, back in the day, it was about telling a story. And music should always be about telling a story. And today it's become about telling, I don't even know if it's a story anymore. It's kind of like short phrases or short.
It depends what you want out of music. I don't want to listen to Beethoven getting ready. You know what I mean? Like,
But
you want to get
Beethoven is fantastic.
you want to get turned to
Beethoven will live to the end of existence.
Yeah, I'll agree with
Some
that.
of the
Like,
stuff you listen to will not make it that long.
Some will though. There's these certain artists who aren't the regular like flexy dudes who come in and go. Someone like, I'm sure you hate Drake, has been around for a long time.
No,
and
I
he's been
don't. No, I don't
influential.
hate Drake. I don't hate Drake. I think that unlike myself, and back in the day, I listened to lots of artists over many genre, and I think today people get connected to one artist, and they believe that artist they can't do no wrong. And I'm like, no, like
Depends.
there's
Depends
two or
on the
three
Beatles.
songs that rock, and then I think the rest of it's crap.
Drake's the man.
You know, I think
Drizzy,
I think there's a
Drizzy's
couple
the
of his
man.
songs,
For-
like this new album that he came out with. I listened to it, and I'm having a very difficult time really saying that any of those songs are like incredible.
But for the dogs,
Any.
For all the dogs.
Any.
For all the dogs.
turn
man.
around.
But I think that because he's Drake and he has that clout and there's no one today that can compete with him, I
Yeah.
think it's going to be there.
Well, it was
it's
the same
going to
back
make
then
it.
too. I'm sure all of Michael Jackson's songs weren't all good.
No,
all of
but
Tupac's songs weren't all good. But
Mike.
people make
But
them
remember,
to be good.
Mike had competition. Mike had Prince. Mike had Madonna. Mike had Queen. Queen was more in the 70s and early 80s. But back then there was always competition.
Well, there's Drake, there's Cole, there's Lil Wayne, there's all these other people too.
Wait.
Who are like,
Lil Wayne.
You can't downplay Lil Wayne. Brought up Drake.
No. I love Lil Wayne.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel
Lil
like
Wayne
Lil
ain't
Wayne is
making-
far past his prime.
Yeah,
though.
Lil Wayne ain't
But that's
making
what
no
I'm
I'm talking
saying.
about 2000s hip hop in general. aren't you?
No.
You're talking about, like, now?
But are they really a competition though? Because I feel like they were together though. You know what I mean?
Nah, Lil Wayne had his own.
Well, Lil Wayne came right before, but then he brought Drake up on.
Lil
top.
Wayne's like the grandpa.
But I think but I will say this though. I think that's the last stage of like competitiveness though. Like was around that 2010
Right.
era.
Right.
Like when Lil Wayne was coming out with Carter 3, all that stuff, and then whenever
Yeah.
Drizzy popped, whenever Birdman, all these motherfuckers, like they came out with their music and stuff. I feel like that was a really good era of music though. A lot of people still go over to 2000s hip hop and stuff like that. You know.
because competition breeds.
But overall,
better
with this
music.
question, though, I feel like it depends. I don't know. I feel like it depends on numbers. I feel like it depends on world impact. For an actual real world view on what's actually good music.
I
and
think
what's
I
not.
can
And then I
name-
think third of all, I think is going to be your perspective. I think it has to be numbers, world impact, and then
Well,
your
numbers can be
perspective.
subjective too. It's a lot easier to sell now than it was back in the
True.
day.
Now.
So you had to sell records back in the day. You
Yeah,
could download
That
today
music
is
like
like-
crazy.
true. That is true.
I think I can name 10 artists, and you could maybe name one, maybe.
Me?
Yeah,
Of what?
either one. The artist that's
Eh.
compared to the art. Like I can name maybe 10 artists, and you probably couldn't name 10 that are better than them from today's generation.
Possibly. I
Possibly.
could possibly
Like, I
name at
could.
least
Run
three.
it up.
Who you got?
My top 10 like artists of all
Well,
time.
like-
Not all time. Your generation.
That you
Our
think
generation.
that you
Don't
think
claim
would
Pac.
be better.
'Cause Pac ain't your generation.
So
Pac was
2000.
my
So
generation.
2000s.
I guess
When was
yeah,
you born?
2000s.
2004.
You are. When was you around walking around listening to music?
Ah, that doesn't,
You
that
were
doesn't
born
count. That
2004.
doesn't count.
You were like, so you were 10 years old at 2014.
That was a horrible stage for rap.
That's what I'm
that
saying,
Was,
like,
that was like Lil
You
Uzi,
can't claim
21.
music that you were like in
2014?
the stomach.
2014 was decent. I feel like 2016 was peak year, my opinion.
So-
But
and-
Fetty
then-
Wap coming up.
He
Fetty Wap
put his
was
one eye.
He was
pretty
popping
good.
for that year.
He was
But
popping.
well,
He wasn't
what do you-
great. He
how
wasn't the
did it
greatest of all
start?
time.
24, then
17,
38.
Produce me.
Yeah.
Fetty Wap. I mean, but that's a different type of
Who,
artist. That's
J-
a one-hit wonder, just like in the old days.
J.
It's one-hit
Cole,
wonder.
Drake is like the only really.
J. Cole, Drake, Kendrick.
Kendrick for sure.
Lil Wayne was still in our generation, so I can still
Was he?
claim him.
I could
yeah.
vouch.
I
But
think
Lil Wayne.
2010 was the last.
Justin Bieber.
Well, you do.
Look, even
I
if you
like
don't
had
like
an influence.
If you don't know, if you
I
don't
like
like Justin
Justin
Bieber,
Bieber.
he has a lot of talent. He
I
can
like
sing.
Justin Bieber.
He
I
got
do.
swag. He got it like that.
I like Justin Bieber.
really
I'm not
got it
gonna
like
lie.
that. I like
he
Justin
always
Bieber.
had that one guy. With
Justin Timberlake,
the guy with the
Timberland,
beard. Another one.
DJ
Khaled.
DJ
DJ Khaled's another one. I've
Another
already
one.
named how
Bring
many?
up
Like
the
7
ocean.
right there.
Right,
Um,
but they're not going to compare it to the 7 that I'm going to name.
well,
The only one that could hold probably
Justin
is Drake.
Bieber. No, Justin Bieber holds.
Justin Bieber,
I think Justin
1v1s,
Bieber will be generational. I think that later.
Bieber can hold to Michael. Prince.
Absolutely.
I think Drake can.
Madonna.
Drake can, but not Justin Bieber. Maybe.
I mean, those three alone could destroy your home.
But Drake
cast.
can. Kanye is a good.
Kanye. Drake can like hang out.
Nah.
Can he take over? No.
Drake
he can
took
hang
over
out.
our generation the same way Michael
He
took
can
over your
hang out.
generation.
No, but Mike was a whole nother level, brother. Mike was
But they're two different- also-
wide influence.
That is
Queen.
true.
None of your guys
Mike
could
had
even
his
Queen.
controversies, man.
Queen. Come on, I'm naming Queen. Queen.
But let's be
Really?
real. If Michael was making music
Queen?
today, though, he'd be trash. If he made music today, I feel like he wouldn't be as good.
Brother, if Mike was making
And I'm a
music
really
today,
big Michael
if
fan.
Mike was making music today,
You think he'd take
I
over?
think Drake
He'd
would,
wash.
Drake would be one of his background singers, or maybe
think?
one,
They
of
did have a
his,
song
one of his
together.
background dancers.
AI
Because I'm thinking that Drake probably really looked up to Mike, like everyone else.
I
in the
think
world
possibly
did.
he did too. Obviously, you always have to look.
It's kind of
look up
like
to the people
you've
from
only
the past.
had one Muhammad Ali. Mike is the Muhammad Ali of freaking music. Elvis was the Muhammad Ali. I mean,
And Drake's
Elvis.
Mike Tyson. Like,
Yeah, I can. Okay, Mike Tyson's a good. Yeah, you know, he came in there. He was knocking people out. He went to prison, had his issues.
That was more Michael Jackson.
Got the
though.
tattoo on his face. He's kind of had some problems since. I can see him.
Michael had some legal trouble.
I think he's more like a Larry Holmes, if you know who that is.
I know who Larry
Consistent. He won a lot. Didn't really do like great things. Didn't really do like crap. He just was a consistent winner for like 10 years. Wasn't flashy. I could see him more like a Larry Holmes, not like a Muhammad Ali, but more like a Larry Holmes.
Who, Drake?
Yeah, just a consistent winner, but nothing over the top.
I think Drake is arguably like one of the greatest artists of all time.
Of y'all's time.
No,
Of
I think
all
of all
time.
time.
Of y'all's
Of all
time.
time.
You can put, let's say perspective. You can put Michael Jackson, Queen, but Drake has to
Today?
be. Drake has to be.
You
top
could
five.
put- you
Drake
could
has
put
to be.
Michael-
He has more numbers than the
You could
Beatles.
put-
He has more numbers than the
Really?
Beatles. What's that one
You
song?
really want to say he was
More
bigger
bops
than the
than the
Beatles?
Yeah, Beatles. Yeah.
You really want to say he was bigger than the Beatles?
Bigger
Are
than the
you
Beatles.
crazy?
I will
Absolutely was.
put
Are you
this
crazy?
on YouTube. I think Drake is bigger than the Beatles.
Guys, he's putting that out there now.
Statistically, he's better.
But
than
I
the Beatles.
think
Because
it's still hit or miss with
Beatles?
Mike. I think it's hit or miss.
Beatles?
With Mike. I
Are
think
you
Mike. I will
crazy?
personally say that I think Mike.
Beatles
is
took
more
over the entire
influential.
world.
I think Michael Jackson is more influential. But I think that Drake is, if not damn near close, because you can't really count his
my
new
goodness.
numbers
guys,
to go against.
Guys, you hearing what he said, right?
Yeah, you heard me. But I do love Queen.
When this
Queen
goes
is really
live,
dope.
write in delusional or not.
Talk-
Because I think he's delusional.
Talking
Oh,
that
For
ish.
real.
I mean,
He's talking
a lot
that
of
ish
But
right
look,
now.
this is the thing I'm saying though.
He just put Drake on the same level as Michael Jackson.
I'm talking overall Drake,
Delusional.
of course. I think the old Drake was like impeccable. Like I think that he made a lot of.
I think the old Drake
amazing,
probably went to
great songs that were hits. Like
I think
hits
that-
after
relevant for
hits.
20 years with
Yeah,
Michael Jackson.
but don't get me wrong,
How
I
relevant
thi-
was Michael Jackson? For how long?
Michael Jackson's going to be irrelevant for the rest of time. The rest,
one's listening
he'll,
to him that
he'll
much
never
nowadays.
become.
Yeah, no
Michael will never be. Michael will never die.
Neither would Drake ever.
Do you think that Drake would die?
never
No,
die.
I think that Drake has been doing it long enough that
I mean,
he
we can
wouldn't-
ask these guys right
But
here,
but
too.
at the but at the end of the day, if aliens came down and you wanted them to really know our society, really,
They would listen to Mike.
would you want them to listen to Mike,
Him turning
or you
white.
wanted to listen to Drake?
Touching kids.
You know what I'm saying?
Would I want them to listen?
Because
to
if they
Mike or
listen
Drake?
to Drake, they're gonna be like auto tune. They already have auto tune.
I'd give him Jimi Hendrix.
They have no.
Put Jimmy up there.
Oh, they really have what's it called?
This is what I would do. I would
What's it
shove-
called when
this is
you
what I would
when
do.
you take music from other people?
This is what I do.
Do they sample?
I'd probably
I
show
didn't know
him
they
Queen,
sample.
and then I'd probably show him MJ, and then I'd probably go into maybe. What do you think? Lil Wayne, maybe Drake.
No, I wouldn't put him in anything that you guys. I'd have him listen to some Elvis.
What is Elvis talking about?
Elvis was fantastic.
Elvis was more dancing.
Elvis is the king of rock and roll, brother.
It was just a.
The king of rock and
that
roll.
was a dancing era. Well, was that?
No,
meaningful?
remember
Was Elvis
back in the
meaningful?
day, that dancing wasn't allowed. You would go to jail if you danced.
Honestly,
like
I don't think I've heard an Elvis Presley song in the last like 3-4 years.
It doesn't matter if you haven't,
years.
but a lot of people remember the Elvis movie just came out not too long ago.
That's
No one
cool.
watched
There's
it.
gonna be a Drake movie, just so you know.
Is
once he
there?
passes.
Absolutely.
Do you think?
Absolutely.
What do you think Drake is? Do you think he's like some D-list celebrity or something? Like he's like an
Exactly. This guy's on
underground
top of
guy.
the world.
Do you think he's like some random like?
All
running
I'm
around?
saying is
Or
this.
do you think he's like on top of billboards right
I think
now, like every year
the
almost?
biggest argument that I have is that back in the day,
Even
they
Kanye
didn't-
admits it. Drake
back
is
in
the
the
greatest
day-
of all time, and I stand that.
back in the day they didn't have sampling.
That's true, but that has
Because
nothing
people-
to do.
That's a
That's
different
people-
art form that we
people
use
created-
nowadays.
But that's a different point. Also,
People created their own music, and back in the day we didn't have laptops. So back in the day you had to be able to create your own music with instruments. We didn't have auto tune. So back in the day it was your actual
So
real
basically,
think if we
voice.
had the same
basically, your
technology-
question is who sounds better raw, Drake compared to MJ? Is that your question?
No,
who was
I
a better?
I said talent.
better artist.
I said talent.
You said better talent, or
Yeah.
you said a better
Talent.
artist?
There's no way you can compare. And Michael could dance. When's the last? What dances does Drake?
But
do?
I think, but at the same time, I think that takes some talent too, in a way. I feel like Drake, but you can't compare the talents either because they have different music styles.
Okay.
But I'll say this though. MJ, of course, impeccable dancer, impeccable performer, had probably the
Everything.
best shows
Everything.
ever to exist. I feel like better than like Travis Scott, any of these guys today.
Who?
You get,
You don't get it. You don't get it.
But this is where you trying to make a podcast, but
I'm like, man,
you gotta culture yourself.
You know what that tells you is it tells me that y'all's generation, boy.
No,
You
that
need to be
we grew
educated
up.
on
Y'all
That,
need-
yeah,
our
no,
pop
it tells us you need to be educated on
I
the
feel
culture
like-
today.
recent pop culture.
I feel like I don't even know. Like we're the OGs. Like we're the original.
You
like,
guys are. You guys
form,
are older.
And then you guys are like seeds that just been like saturated and split
And
so
grew
many
and
times.
sprouted into something
And then
better.
you guys are like almost transparent, like weak and transparent and just not as solid as we were back in the day, bro. Like y'all don't even know what real talent sounds like anymore.
I think it's perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think so.
Very
too.
opinion based because I think that, I don't know, like I'd probably say the same thing once my kid starts listening to music.
True.
And I probably won't be cultured.
Because they'll
And
probably
I think I'd have probably the same opinion because I'd be like, what? Like, because Drake is obviously going to retire, right? And then I'm going to listen to some guy named, I don't know, Blake, Crank.
Lil
I'm going to
Blake.
listen
No.
Young Crank or
Lil
something.
something.
Your
Yeah.
kid's probably gonna listen to some dude that came from outer space, like alien music somewhere that you can't even understand the language. And you're like, what the hell is this?
Maybe. I feel like with new music today, you can even barely
I
understand.
know, barely
the language.
understand the language. So, but I'll give you this to agree to disagree. I think you guys have a different type of music. You don't
Very
have a
different.
choice.
You can tell. Turn on your radio right
You don't
now.
have a choice. Like you guys had to move on with technology.
Of course,
And
just as
so
you
many
was.
things have been done. It's so difficult to do something original. It's almost impossible to find an original sound or whatever. So sampling is probably like a normal process because everything probably has been done already.
But then even back in the day, though, they did sample a lot of songs.
that's
too, as
true.
well.
In
and they
history-
did actually take a lot of lyrics
Right.
from older songs.
In history,
from like
they
the
did.
50s, 40s.
You're
even
right.
Probably, possibly Michael Jackson has done that too.
Well,
I don't
yeah.
have the evidence, but I know some guys. And who's that guy? What's his name? The one who says "Ice, Ice, Baby." That
Come
dude.
on,
Vanilla Ice.
Come on, man.
Vanilla
We talking about
Ice.
Vanilla
You know,
Ice,
he took the
really?
instrumental from Queen. That happened.
Hey, I'm not gonna say that.
But
I didn't
obviously-
like that song that came out.
Obviously, in today's world, it's more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, it's gonna happen more because that's what y'all started off with.
But-
That's just music. Music is just art. If you look at music, it's art. Your self opinion on it. You don't like our today's music. I don't like most of it too, but there's some that I do like. You know what I mean? It's all opinion, and I like a lot of Queen. I like a lot of MJ. So it's really hard because they're two different genres of music, and it's just self perspective. You know,
Right.
Very self perspective, and it's really hard to say. But I'm gonna say that I would think that the older gen is overall more talented and better. I will say that, but I'm not gonna say that the Beatles. I'm gonna say arguably MJ is kind of like Drake today. I will say that though. I'll stand on that point because of
Beatles were
numbers. Because of
incredible.
numbers, statistics, impact. I would say that. But opinion, yeah, you don't like Drake. I like Drake. So my opinion is gonna stand with Drake. You won't.
Let's not get that confused. I do like Drake. I'm just not obsessed with Drake. That's all. Like I like listening to, like I got a Drake song here or there. I don't have his old album. Like I like a couple songs. And I like a couple of songs and genres from lots of different musicians all over the world. So I don't like,
And that's just like saying NWA, fucking.
I like some songs from them. I don't like the
you
whole
know,
album.
And the thing is,
per
a lot of
se.
people in your generation, they bring up NWA. They have a movie, right? And I feel like Drake is way bigger than NWA, right? You know,
You see,
Debatable,
you just-
debatable,
Oh,
debatable.
man.
They were a lot more impactful.
Look, what you were saying was going in the
good.
right
Yeah,
direction.
yeah,
You just
right.
played
Stepped
yourself.
overboard.
I don't
just
know. I
played
feel
yourself.
like let's be real. How many people walking around actually know NWA? Like
They revolutionized hip hop.
Like,
Well, of
they
course,
revolutionized
mad respect
gangster
towards
rap.
NW. Mad respect. They changed it. They changed the game.
They
straight
turned it
up.
from club rap to gangster rap. That's where it all started. Gangster
Straight
rap was
up,
NWA.
yeah, they changed it straight up, and that's when we got into like 50, all these other dudes, all these other gurus.
no, that's my boy 50. I like 50.
50 Cent, that's one of my
hard,
favorite
bro.
rappers
That's
too.
my
you know?
favorite rapper ever.
Yeah, 50.
Yeah, one of my faves. I'm not a big Eminem fan, but he had an impact.
Hey,
but people are gonna argue the same thing with
Don't
Eminem.
mess with that boy.
They're gonna say, "Oh, Eminem is comparable to I don't know, maybe Drake or some shit." I'm gonna say, "Hell no!"
Really?
But obviously, numbers. Show
Eminem
that
was
shit, too.
not
No,
that good.
but M.
I
Eminem
think
was
so
not that
too.
good.
But I do
He
like
was
that one
not
But
song.
who will battle M?
That's if, I
But
mean,
that's
if
a
you want
different
people-
story.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
a
whole
Freestyle,
different thing.
freestyle.
Freestyle. Who will battle
Even
him?
Michael Jackson couldn't even freestyle. Fucking M.
Eminem, exactly.
Nobody could. Who, like, name one.
But who wants to listen to freestyle all the time? Like,
Hey,
That's
that's
true.
how they.
But that's
do it.
why
But
music is
remember-
art. Music
But
is
remember,
subjective.
that's how they did it back in the day. What do you think Biggie was doing in the streets?
yeah, Biggie is
Biggie was
comparable to
battling.
Eminem,
Everybody
though.
used to battle back in the day, battle in the streets.
Yeah.
And that used to take it over. Nobody battles no more because everything's pre-scripted. Everything's already written down, pre-done. That's why if you hear a dude rap now, you're like, oh, that ain't come from the dome. That's been pre-scripted. That's been written down. He's done rehearsed that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
back in the day, you would go in the streets and you would have to just freestyle, just go. Your opponent would show up. You didn't know nothing about him, and you would just get down, freestyle.
Yeah.
And that's what that's what Biggie was doing. That's what a lot of them was doing back in the day. You know.
So of course, music's very subjective, and that's what it is.
So guys, I think this was awesome. I think we covered
Yeah,
a
good talk.
lot of awesome topics, and we had a lot of
I
different.
think Drake's the
opinions.
greatest of all time, still though. For
Oh,
all the
come on,
dogs,
man.
baby,
Look.
for all dogs. I mean, it's a
Oh, he got it on.
It's a
He
movie.
got
it's
it
a
on.
good- It's a good album.
got it
you know,
on. Like all we got to do is get little 3-year-olds or 2-year-olds to like
Come draw on it.
to come draw on some stuff, and we can start selling merch too. That's when you know you're big.
Yeah.
When you get your little kid to draw on something randomly and sell it for like $100.
that proves another point, right?
Another
That
point.
proves
Another point.
That proves another point.
Another one.
How impactful he was. So
Especially
he
to your
still
life
is.
because you wearing it right now. But, hey, but that's big. That's big.
all
All right, guys. Well, I think it was a great show. I think we talked about a lot of content.
And
I think it was awesome. But
time
hey,
to wrap this
time to
motherfucker
wrap it up.
You know, this is the Talking That Ish podcast.
Talking That
This with
Ish.
my pops, AJ, Ansel Dua, Damien Espinoza, and you know, keep talking that ish.
Keep talking that ish.
Yes, sir. Hey, Damien, look at the camera real quick. Talking that ish.
Keep talking that ish.
For real. Keep talking that ish.